Right, so let's say you've been training hard recently, you've dialed in your training, your exercise selection is solid, as well as your nutrition and recovery being on point, and you're going through the daily and weekly cycles of your routine, and you're unsure what you're doing is actually building muscle. Well, fear not. In this video, I'll give you everything you need to know, all the parameters you need to follow, so you don't have to question if you are building muscle or not. Your time is precious, so I'm not going to take any more of it, and I'm going to keep this video as to the point as I can. So the first thing you need to apply is the mental model of standardization, which in essence is the process of establishing and applying common rules or guidelines so that you can ensure consistency and quality within what you do. To keep it simple, you need to keep things consistent through standardizing your effort. So an example of this would be sticking to the same workout routine, using the same exercise order, training with the same rep ranges, sticking to the same diet plan and the same bedtime routine over a long period of time. The more consistent that you can be with your efforts, the easier the building muscle process will be. So basically what you need to do is see building muscle like an experiment. And in order to keep your findings reliable, you need to keep as many variables as constant as possible. Similar to how in any experiment, we don't want to make too many adjustments, otherwise our findings will become confusing. So let me introduce you the different types of variables we have. Firstly, we have our independent variables. These are the elements of our experiment that we do change. So in the case of building muscle, this may look like our exercise selection, our tempo, our hand placements, or whether or not we have had caffeine before our workout. Then we have our dependent variables. This is our outcome. So in our case, it's just building muscle, or as I'm going to discuss in a minute, progressive overload. And lastly, we have our control variables. These are going to be the things that we are going to keep the same. Like I've just said, progressive overload will be your dependent variable, the thing that you are looking out for basically. This is because getting stronger on your exercises in their given rep ranges is the greatest way to know whether or not you're building muscle. This is because progressive overload is a sign that your body has gone through the muscle hypertrophy adaptation, which means it can now lift more than it did last time. People often see progressive overload in completely the wrong light, as if it's something they need to force, and I made this mistake a lot in the past. Back in my earlier training years, I'd sacrifice so many training variables in the name of progressive overload, but this is not how you get bigger. If you have to change so many variables just to get that extra rep or two, then you haven't actually built any muscle, nor have you stimulated any muscle growth. What you're doing in this situation is literally just training your ego. If you want to seriously build some muscle, you need to keep as many factors the same over the long term and slowly change the independent variable if you are not seeing results. So it helps to know the factors that are going to affect your muscle growth. Here are the main ones: sleep quality, sleep consistency, total calorie intake, protein distribution, carb intake, fat intake, food quality, hydration, pre-workout nutrition, pre-workout caffeine use, total daily stress levels, proximity to failure, volume, frequency, exercise selection, range of motion, lengthened position loading, tempo, rest time between sets, session structure, exercise order, warm-up quality, deloads, rest days, training split design, hormonal status, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, consistency over time, lifestyle factors, gut health, quality of tracking, mind-muscle connection, and training environment. Now, I know that for a lot of you, this may seem completely excessive and not something that you wish to go too crazy with, but generally speaking, the more of these that you can make consistent, the better, and as a result, the better your muscle building results are going to be. Now, on the surface, I get it, this looks completely daunting, but once you've locked in your meal plan, you have a good sleep routine, and you keep your training routine consistent, the main variables that you really have to look out for will literally be your training. And more often than not, you're going to feel the urge to change things around. Things like your range of motion, switching to different handles, changing your hand placements, switching to different stability placements, and adjusting your tempo. You are going to need to keep your training as consistent as possible week to week. That way, your readings are going to be the most accurate. So for example, if you plan on doing cheat reps on bicep curls, you need to do it every single week. You shouldn't be changing things too much. Being consistent isn't just about getting into the gym anymore. The deeper you get into your training, the more consistent you're going to need to be in more areas. There is basically less of a margin of error, which is basically the room that you have to make mistakes. If you know what your variables are and you aren't seeing progressive overload occur, then you can experiment. Sometimes you may just have had a shit night's sleep, or perhaps work's going to be stressing you out too much, but you're only going to know this if you don't keep changing things. And when you do look to change things, don't change 5 things at once, because if you do this, then you won't know what's working, and as a result, you won't know what the bottleneck is in your training, and basically the bottleneck is what's holding you back. In essence, consistency throughout your life is going to be the key. The more you can enter the territory of this being your lifestyle, the easier you are going to find it to build muscle. The extent to which you can commit to this is the extent in which you will see excellent progress. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are interested in how you can apply this and want to join others who are making awesome progress with their training, click the link in the description.